mean, if there was any kind of justice in the world, any sort of karma in the world, you know, their computer would blow up. Yeah, I'm like a tall Scorsese. I got the gist. I mean, yeah, don't go and get divorced, everybody. I wanted to show people that starting something, no matter where you are in life, can be done.
Hi, this is the Heiligstuhl, the podcast with Youre and Alex. And today for our very first video podcast, we have a very special guest, YouTuber, runner, and I think internationally renowned duck pond champion Mark Lewis is here. And I wish him a very warm welcome. Hey, Mark. Hey, Alex. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thanks. Thanks for having me.
And you, Alex, you're good as well, I hope?
I thought it would be longer.
Still shocked to see my face. You're not used to it?
Who are you asking, me? Or
Yeah.
no.
I'm used to my face, actually. I have to look in the mirror at some point.
Yeah. No, I'm still getting used to it. So that's the reason we are doing audio normally, so we don't have to see each other. But yeah. In fact, you have to look into the camera.
Yeah, fair enough. If things get too bad, just take your glasses off. So, I start with my very first question for Mark. And my question actually is, I mean, you're a very active guy, at least at some portions of your life, and you're very accomplished in what you do. I would say way above average, actually. And like, who inspires you, actually? If you take a look at YouTube videos or influencers, like, who keeps you going?
On YouTube?
Yeah. Is
nobody.
there an influencer?
No, not one of them. I mean, no. I mean, I'm not. You know, I'm a 50-year-old man. So I would kind of feel that I'd gone wrong somewhere if I couldn't summon up my own motivation at this point. If I needed to resort on calling on a YouTuber to get me going. I mean, what I use YouTube for and have always used YouTube for, and hope people use my YouTube for, is useful information. So I will certainly watch other YouTubers to find out how I should be doing something better. And I'll watch it for entertainment if I want to be just simply entertained. And hopefully sometimes those two things coincide, but I can't recall ever being motivated by watching a YouTuber. But then that might be because I'm not quite as into my health and fitness as some people seem to think I am. I mean, what I am motivated by on YouTube is watching good YouTubers, good storytelling YouTubers. So there's definitely some people that I'll watch who aren't in the health and fitness world, but just create good stories. And I'll watch that and get motivated to go and hopefully make a good story myself. But no, if I want to go for a run, I go for a run. I can't imagine watching some random YouTuber making a coffee in slow motion and then going for theirs and then feeling that I should do the same.
Yeah, the advantage, obviously, for our viewers is that if he makes a coffee, you can buy it afterwards with his promo code, I guess. So I think that's the normal procedure.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I mean, yes. One of the problems I find with YouTube fitness is that it's well, the whole of YouTube is that it's because I'm inside that world, and I know how it works and what the motivation is for many. I tend to see through what appears to be motivational content and see it for the kind of desperate attempt to lure people into seeing who sponsored you that week. So that kind of puts me off slightly, just as I might be getting infused by watching somebody. They'll then hit me with a discount code for sports bra or something, and suddenly my enthusiasm wanes.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I could use one, but I guess I totally get it. Essentially, it's just sales with working out, essentially, because those are salespeople who try to push it, and basically they are commission only, but make it look a bit fancy because they say, "Oh, listen, I can bench press 100 kilograms." So
Yeah, there's very few people, and to be fair, they're not trying to be storytellers. There's very few people in the fitness world that are genuinely on YouTube to tell a great story and to make great, what I call great content. They're creating a product, which is the video. So when you watch it, it's easy to think, well, they've made the video for me. Actually, the motivation is to make the video, to get eyes on the video, to then sell those eyes to whoever sponsored them. That's really the motivation. And in the fitness world, that's a large amount of it. As soon as you step outside of that world, there are some great storytellers, and I love watching them.
Yeah, but I guess it's the age where, I mean, it's a big discussion generally, I think, with YouTube, that, like, for example, reaction videos where people react to actually content produced by other content creator who put in like 2 weeks of work, and then somebody sits in front of a camera and says, yeah, I like this video, and then he gets like 50,000 views on it and calls himself an influencer. So that's, I think, a big issue generally.
Yeah, I mean, I hate that. I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, fuck that guy. I mean, I hate that. That is.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I mean, if there was any kind of justice in the world, any sort of karma in the world, you know, their computer would blow up. I mean, it's just, yeah, like you say, I mean, I put time and effort into my stuff. I very rarely, hardly ever do I mention another YouTuber unless they've genuinely said something that I found incredibly useful and beneficial for others to hear, and then I'll mention them. But I've probably done that only about 3 or 4 times ever. And there are some people that will simply title every single video about what somebody else did, because they just realize it's a very easy way to make to make good content on the basis that they're copying someone else's good content. No, and I hate it. It's the worst part of YouTube. It's I was going to say it's like the junk food of food, but it's not even the junk food. It's like finding a Big Mac in the gutter and someone picking it up.
Yeah, essentially, I mean,
selling that to you.
They're taking processed stuff, digesting it, and the result then is pretty much the same as with bad burgers.
Yeah, but it's not even like you're buying the bad burger from the person that made the burger. You're buying a bad burger that someone else bought, took a bite of, threw away, and then this loser's come and pulled it out of their bin and has pretended it's theirs and is now selling it again to idiots. It's not. It's a big part of YouTube. It's a big part of all social media, but it's not a part that I ever want anything to do with.
Well, I guess this should be nice for the comment section, eh, Alex?
I really knew before this cast that I would enjoy listening to you two. It's awesome.
Yeah, but it's for real.
Like, would pay for this, and I'm sitting in the middle of you two, and I just have it firsthand. It's awesome.
But it is like I used to be stand-up comic, right? Used to, like, I still consider myself one. Just the payment is a bit different, but it's like stealing everybody else's jokes and then basically 30 minutes doing stand-up only with stolen jokes. Essentially, that's not like, there is no creative process, and if you call yourself a comedian, then no, it's not. Essentially, like
it's funny. It's even worse than that. It's even worse than that. It's like going and doing your stand-up set, and you go on stage and you set up a projector and you show somebody else's stand-up comedy on that screen to the audience, and then as the audience laugh at that other comic, you just kind of laugh along with them and go, yeah, wasn't it good? That's it's not like they're not even retelling the joke. They're saying, watch the original joke, but give me money. It's that. So it's not even stealing jokes. I did stand up too. Stealing jokes is the lowest of the low, but it's not even stealing jokes. It's stealing someone else's everything, their joke, their delivery, their everything, and then saying, "I'll have some money for that, please."
Did that ever happen to you, by the way? Like, I mean, you have quite some following up to this point, but you're obviously not like 100 million views on every video, like some people basically using their children for clickbait. So, did somebody ever do that to you?
Steal my stuff?
Yeah.
No, they haven't. I mean, I've had a couple of occasions where I've done a video and it's done very well, and then I've seen other people do the video as well, and I don't mind that. And to a certain extent, that there are no new ideas. I mean, everything is just a slight tweak on another idea. So I've done. Yeah, there are some challenges, some eating and exercising challenges that I've done that other people have done. But when I did them, what I tried to do was to put my own. The idea would be that you'd watch that challenge and think that's very much a Mark Lewis video, even though the original idea was for somebody else, which I'm fine with. That's like watching, I don't know, whatever, Reservoir Dogs and thinking, okay, well, Tarantino stole that from, whatever, art house Japanese director he stole it from. But it doesn't matter because it's a Tarantino film. Everyone now thinking, is he comparing himself to Quentin Tarantino? Yes.
Fair enough.
Yeah. It's exactly what I'm doing. So I don't mind it when that happens. So I have seen people take something I've done and then do it themselves. So that's cool. Occasionally, I've seen people take, literally lines I've said and say them, and that starts to get a little bit kind of. I've always been quite lucky because what's happened when I've seen that is that they've got, 1,000 views on something that I got 100,000 views on. So I just think, haha, I don't care. But it's never. I suppose that the two problems are, or the two good things are, that I'm not big enough really for people to look at as a means of copying, and also my style is quite my own. I think it would be. I don't think I'm someone you could watch and think, oh, I'll do that and say that. It would be a bit. It would seem a bit weird, I think. So I think my style kind of protects me a little bit from being copied too much.
Yeah,
I would agree. No, Alex, do you want to say something?
I would
quite the dialogue here.
If I had to say something, I saw one of your last videos, and you are sometimes using these short video clips you're putting inside from old films or memes or something like that. But this is a common technique. I think many YouTubers do this. So Jörn asked if you have something who inspires you. You said no, not directly, but there is some inspiration on YouTube, or is there nothing? Everything comes from your mind and you're only working in your own inspirational bubble on your own, but because there are trends, something comes up and you try if it works out on your videos. This is stuff you're doing, or are you totally on your own?
No, there's definitely you're right. What I do is I watch a lot of YouTubers, and what I'll do is I'll see something they do. Actually, to go right back, when I first started YouTube, I was watching a guy called Casey Neistat, who's a New York YouTuber, very very big. He was massive a few years ago, and I loved what he did. It was great storytelling. His videos were just really well edited, very cinematic. Although not cinematic in a kind of a grand cinema way, they were just great. It was just great storytelling, and I thought, well, I want to do that. And my first couple of videos, because of that, I ended up putting in stupid, cheesy music and drone shots, which is what he was doing. But I just couldn't make it work because that wasn't what I could do. It just didn't work. So what I thought was, okay, actually, it's not his drone footage that I like. It's the way he always has a start, a middle, and end. You know, in his narrative arc is always there with a setup, a conflict, and a resolution, which is the basis of all storytelling. I'll just take that little bit and go forward. In the same way as I watched some Mr. Beast stuff a couple of years ago, and it dawned on me that with a Mr. Beast video, he might within his first 10 seconds tell you that he's bought an island, he's put 10 people on it, and they're all going to get eaten by sharks if they don't do something within 5 minutes or whatever. It all happens immediately. And I remember watching that and thinking, wow, there is no, I mean, going back to stand-up, there's no fat, there's no excess on this. It's everything is stripped away to just what you need. When I used to do stand-up, I was very aware of, because I was inspired by people like Chris Rock and stuff, to just cut away all the excess words in my script so that it was really tight. And I thought, that's not what I'm doing. It's not what most YouTubers are doing, especially in the fitness world. A lot of fitness YouTubers will, they'll start their video waking up in bed and kind of pretending they're getting out of bed. And it's maybe, a minute, 2 minutes before they actually tell you what their video is going to be about that day. Mr. Beast will buy an island and not even bother telling you how he did it. He'll just say, I've got an island and here's 10 people on it. Whereas other YouTubers are spending, 45 seconds showing themselves having a shower before they even get onto what they're doing. So I thought, okay, I need to do what Mr. Beast is doing. For my first 30 seconds, I need to get straight into it. So I took that little bit from him. I took the idea of, things like having a call. I'd put callbacks in my material often. I took that from my stand-up days of obviously you're referring back to a previous joke. I took stuff like the idea of having of always opening with a joke, but also relevant to that video. I took that from things like watching Friends TV show and watching the American Office, which would have these cold opens where you'd have a cold open to basically a setup for a gag and then the credits and then the show. So I took that. So I definitely take bits, but I'm very mindful of never taking too much from any one place, because otherwise your stuff then just becomes derivative of whatever it is you've stolen it from, really. So I definitely, nothing I do is particularly original. It's like making a cake. I'm not using magic ingredients, that they're all ingredients that exist. I guess I'm trying to put them together in a way that makes a cake that might be a bit different to others, even if it's made with ingredients that everyone has access to.
But it's still a hell of a lot of work. Essentially, that's what most people don't realize. Like even if you're only doing audio podcasts, it's quite some work. Video, infinitely more difficult to pull off, actually. If it's supposed to look good.
It can take me an hour easily, two hours sometimes, to come up with a video clip. You mentioned I put in video clips. And one of the things that I did that I thought was different to, because I've seen it done a lot, I thought I want to be different to other YouTubers. What are they doing wrong with these video clips? And the first thing I thought was they're too long. Whenever someone puts a little crash cut to a video clip, I make sure that clip is never more than a second and a half. And ideally, I want it to be less than a second. I want it to be it's a throwaway tag on a joke. It needs to be, quick and almost before you recognized what the clip was and how it was relevant to what you'd seen, the guy's moved on and you're kind of playing catch up in your mind, trying to now get back on track with what he's saying. And you're just kind of sideswiped by that clip. And what a lot of people do is they just go and put a big 5-second chunk of another movie in, at which point you literally go out of the movie, you go out of the video you're watching, you now go into the video they're presenting you with, and then you have to come back to their video again mentally. And so I mean, a good example of that is when you see it very rarely in films, but you get breaking the fourth wall in a film. And I remember as a kid watching Trading Places with Eddie Murphy, which is one of the most famous.
Great movie.
Yeah, the bit where they're explaining to him how commodities work, and he says, bacon, like you might find the bacon in this tomato sandwich, and Eddie Murphy looks to camera and back again, and it's less than a second, and that's all you need, because if it was more than a second, you'd be taken out of the movie. So my movie clips are more of a breaking of the fourth wall than they are anything else, and so they need to be really fast. But that 3/4 of a second clip, it might take me, I mean, sometimes I've literally spent all day looking at different clips and thinking of clips and to come up with the right one. It's incredibly time consuming. And there'll be many YouTubers watching thinking, well, you're an idiot then, because, I make my videos on an iPhone, 11 in my mum's basement, and I get 20 million views every time, filming my dog, whatever, mounting my Action Man or something. And, well done. I mean, I'm not saying that what I'm doing is the way to do it, but what I'm doing is the way that I enjoy doing it.
So yeah, I did all this TikTok stuff too. I like understanding algorithms. This is what I do on LinkedIn as well, and really trying to understand it and then exploiting it for the joke being. For example, on LinkedIn, I only post nonsense, like literally just nonsense jokes, funny pictures, and stupid videos like I make myself. And this for me has created a whole business sort of. And this is my whole cold acquisitions, just posting stupid stuff on LinkedIn, basically. Which is kind of difficult to explain to my parents, but
yeah, I'll bet. Yeah,
I mean, you you had to explain what YouTube is to your parents at some point. So, and
I didn't bother.
Okay,
I didn't bother.
So I did basically TikTok with the mask on, shaving myself with the mask on, and brushing my teeth with the mask on. And then one of those videos actually got multi-million views. Like me literally shaving myself with the mask on. And for me, the initial thought was, okay, so this is about how serious I should take videos with big viewing numbers, essentially, because it was utter nonsense with no effort, and it says absolutely nothing about the creator and is essentially worthless. So basically, you have to take a closer look. And I essentially think that this is fluke and quality always prevails. I think it's with movie. If you have a great script and you keep at it, quality prevails ultimately, I find.
I don't know. I don't know if quality, I mean, it depends what you mean by prevails, because I look at it the other way. I look at it that quality doesn't prevail, but just tough luck. I mean, there are too many people. I mean, YouTube's a little bit different, but certainly once you come down to short form content, once you start looking at Instagram Reels and TikTok and so on, there quality doesn't prevail. What prevails
that's true.
It's just whatever rubbish happens to kind of just fit them. I mean, it's almost like saying that heroin prevails because lots of people find it really moreish. That doesn't mean it's that's a Russell Brand joke as well, by the way.
Be careful. We don't want to offend the South American viewership.
Well, I mean, exactly. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, but that's a good point. If you work in Colombia, are you supposed to think, well, whatever business I'm in that's exporting legitimate products is a worse business than the cartel, because the cartel have got more clicks and likes? No, you have to just accept that there are some products, whether it's bad for you drugs or bad for you Instagram Reels, that will always find a massive audience. But let it happen. It's just, having compared myself to Tarantino, let's now do Scorsese.
Yes.
I imagine it's
I see the similarity. Yes.
I'm like a tall Scorsese.
Definitely.
Sorry.
He must watch, the Marvel movies and stuff like that. Go and get millions of make billions of pounds. So he's watching Marvel films making billions of pounds, and it's basically cartoon graphics bouncing about. And he then goes and makes a film that doesn't make billions of pounds, but he pours his kind of creative soul into it. He just has to tell himself that, he can't be telling himself quality prevails. He has to just tell himself that's just the way it is. The same as Scorsese's probably quite happy being Scorsese. There are people that are musicians that are better than anybody in the pop charts, but no one's ever going to hear of them because people don't want good musicians. They want whatever
Mozart.
is in the pop chart. Yeah, but I mean, you see, Mozart's a bad example because he did all right when he was around. But you could be.
I was jumping on him because of all the drugs and horse. So good example.
If Mozart today, nobody would hear of Mozart today because they'd be listening to whatever kind of manufactured, rubbish is being forced down the ears of people by, record companies. So I just let that wash over me. I don't care if somebody, dresses their cat up as something and it gets more views than me. I don't care how much money they make from it. If I cared about that, I'd be watching, my Instagram reel, girls twerking and they get 50 million views and a Lamborghini. I just let it wash over me. I do not care.
So it's a good transition to Alex, who has the next question.
Yeah, but if you mention Mozart, he was a product of his father. So
so you want to go full Salieri on him, right?
YouTuber in his time. Well, he was a product of his father, of course. But
yes, he was.
He did the marketing for him, and he pushed him to the royals and stuff like that, and gave him the opportunity to throw the concerts in front of a big I'm lacking the vocabulary.
German cursing, you know the drill.
So he was not some ordinary musician. So you can compare him to the big YouTubers today.
Yes, indeed. No, indeed. I mean, it is. Yeah, yes. Basically, there is nothing fair in art. You do your art, whether it's music or YouTube, whatever your artistic endeavor is. You do it because you enjoy doing it, and you hope it finds an audience. And you cannot be distracted by what somebody else is doing and what audience they're finding, because that just leaves nowhere positive. And I don't think you can tell yourself. It's interesting you say that quality prevails. Excuse me. Another thing I hear sometimes, especially on YouTuber forums, is people saying, "Well, if you keep grinding away, you'll eventually get there." And I disagree with that as well. I think you need to be people that go into this, if they want to be mad enough, that the YouTube world and the podcast world, they need to do so knowing that just because you're really good doesn't mean you'll necessarily be really popular. And just because you keep at it doesn't mean you'll ever even be really good. There's just a huge amount of luck involved. And you have to just get your head down, do what you're doing, ask yourself if you're enjoying it, and ignore what's going on around you. It's one of the reasons why I'm moving to the middle of nowhere, genuinely, is so that at the end of the day, I can turn off my computer and I can just forget the social media world. I won't care who's got 1 million views that day because I'll be out feeding my goats or something. I'm looking forward to being able to detach from it.
Yeah, I totally understand. Ultimately, I feel the same way because I think foremost, I should find the podcast, for example, we do here funny and like the finished product. If I don't find it funny or good, it's basically useless. And the very famous German sort of late night comedian hashtag actor as well, and so on, has once said essentially he's funny like this 24/7, just 2 hours a day, cameras rolling. And if other people find it funny, fair enough, good as well. But the most important part is that he likes it.
Yeah,
So
I love that. I love that. When I watch my videos back, I have to laugh at the funny bits. I have to laugh at myself. I mean, it has to. I mean, if I thought it was funny enough to be in the video, it has to make me laugh. Otherwise, it wasn't funny enough. And I'm always pleased when I do that. I watch it back and I chuckle to myself. I think that's good.
Obviously, I have a very big advantage that my wife actually doesn't find me funny at all. And I know if I make a joke and she hates it, it's absolutely spot on and I can use it. So that's actually my method, and it works very well, basically. But I guess not everybody is that lucky. And I guess I should substitute wife for ex-wife after she sees this. But
my wife is different because she finds me funny enough. But with YouTube, what she doesn't necessarily find my jokes funny because she knows me, so it comes at her from a different place. But she does know what works, so she'll hear me say something, and she might not find it funny, but she'll say, "That's good. That's a good joke. I didn't find it funny, but I know that will land well." So I don't know if that's because she's just seen so much of my stuff or what, but she's a good guide as to whether or not something will work. So I don't need her rolling around laughing, but I do need her nodding, saying, "That's good. I like that."
Well, it's enough when that happens to me in the sleeping room, actually. So, but that's a whole different story for another video. Alex?
Mark, I subscribed to your new channel. But I did not find any content on the guitar channel. So when can we?
the guitar, yeah. Well, yeah. Funny talking.
Is it another bet with your son, or is it?
No.
Does it come from heart this time?
So the guitar is very simple. I told myself that I would learn guitar at some point before I was dead, and so I figured I'd learn at 50 when I turned 50. So for that was about a year ago, almost a year ago today, because I'm 51 in the middle of November. So last October, I bought myself a really expensive guitar because I thought if I buy an expensive one, I'm bound to play it because I've spent thousands of pounds on this thing. And I didn't play it very much, so I thought, I know I need to buy 2 really expensive guitars. So I bought another one, an electric one. So I've now got about £10,000 of guitars, and I thought I'm going to have to now learn to play them because I've spent so much money on this. And yeah, I haven't. I can play about 3 chords badly. My hope is that when I move, I will reignite my passion. It's tricky. I have, funny enough, I was recently diagnosed with ADHD, which normally you diagnose kind of naughty kids with when they're 6, but I got diagnosed at 50, which is good because I can be naughty and no one can tell me off, so it doesn't matter anymore. but it does make me think that, and one of the reasons I went to get the assessment was that there are so many things like the guitar where I get incredibly passionate and focused on something to a ridiculous degree, and then just drop it like a I'm trying to think of an analogy that would work in German. I don't know, a hot Frankfurter or something. So yeah. I'm done with it, and I wanted to try and find out if that was actually something in my brain. I was going to say wrong with my brain, but people that are ADHD will say you can't say wrong. I mean, I am ADHD, so I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, you can do it. We can make fun of Germans, and you can make fun of this.
There you go. Okay, so there's something wrong with my brain. And yeah, so to answer the question about the guitar, I haven't learned to play the guitar yet. I'm determined to do so. And when I do, there'll be some content on that channel. The reason I set the channel up is what I wanted to show to people, and I still do, I wanted to show people that starting something, no matter where you are in life, can be done. You know, so many people get to, I forget 50, a lot of people get to 30 or 40, and they say, I'm too old to do this or do that, and I can't, or they have change forced upon them, maybe a divorce, or they lose their job or something. They think, I'm too old to start again. And I just wanted to show that that's not the case. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you get remarried or you pick up a guitar for the first time. If you're not dead, you can make progress.
Yeah.
Although what I did demonstrate was that you need to actually try and make progress beyond just spending £10,000 on guitars. That doesn't cut it.
I really liked your video where you talked about this, scare yourself or something like that was the title.
Yeah,
I really liked that video. It really catched me, and it was really awesome, I think. Because there you talked exactly about this. You're never too old to do something, and if you do not do it, you simply do not do it. It's just like that. So
yeah. And once you embrace that and you understand that, it makes you so, I was going to say brave, but brave is not, it makes you fearless. I mean, here's a good example. We've spent 8 months now trying to buy the house we're trying to buy. It's our dream house. We are already living there in our heads. You know, we're imagining it. And just in the last week or so, the person we're buying it from is being problematic. And I've said to them, if you carry on causing problems, I will not hesitate for 1 second to walk away from this deal. I don't care how much money it costs me. I don't care how far backwards I need to go. I will walk away. I do not care for 1 second. You screw around, the deal's off. And I don't care. I mean, I say I don't care. Ideally, I'd like it to go ahead. But if it doesn't happen, so what? It doesn't happen. Another thing happens instead. And this time next year, I'll be living somewhere else instead. Life will go on. And when I hear so many people telling me, oh, I'm trapped in this job, or I'm trapped in this marriage, or whatever it might be. And I think, why are you trapped? And they're trapped because they're frightened of not being in that situation anymore. And the minute you realize that as long as you're alive, you can do something new, you become fearless. And that makes everything good. It doesn't mean you then go and get divorced immediately. It means you can fix
disclaimer.
Yeah. Oh, you can do if you want.
Well, Alex, you're a lawyer. You can make money out of this video.
He's always telling I'm a lawyer, something else.
What it means is you can, once you're not afraid of change, you can focus on making improvements better. Because marriage is a good example. If a couple sit down to have a discussion about how bad their marriage is, but they are restrained from having a proper conversation because they're both frightened of the ultimate end game, which is divorce, that they never really explore every possibility, and they never really kind of get to a resolution because they're contained by this fear that there's one outcome that we just can't contemplate. The minute you say, no, every outcome is on the table, nothing is off the table, then you can have proper adult conversations. It's like, if you hate your job, you go to your boss and say, I need a pay rise, or I need this change, or I need that change, because otherwise I'm out the door. Then you're far more likely to get them than going to your boss who knows you're terrified of walking out the door and you're never going to get anything. So for me, I gave up long ago being frightened of anything that's around the corner. I'd say I don't care is wrong. I will just embrace whatever change is thrown at me. And also, you never know whether that would have been a good thing anyway. If we end up buying a different house because this one falls through, maybe this house, had we bought it, would have collapsed into the river in December had we bought it. Life is too complicated to second guess what might have happened and have regrets. So yeah, that scare yourself thing was actually that's what it was called for clickbait, but it almost meant don't be scared. nothing is actually scary. I mean, well, there are some things that are scary.
Yes, I would disagree on that. There are some things that are scary. So, but
Well, you're
most
the
people don't
soldier, Alex.
experience
But
really
it's not.
scary stuff.
Yeah, but it's not the things that people think are scary.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree.
Hearing one of your kids is sick or something is scary. Hearing that you might be losing your job. I mean, I appreciate there are going to be people that think, no, that would be really inconvenient at best. But in reality, you talk to anyone that lost their job, 10 years later, so many of them will tell you, best thing that ever happened. I got a better job, or I started this business, or I did that. Change. If you embrace change and you go forward positively, it can be incredibly beneficial. And given change is inevitable, to not embrace it seems like a really bad shortcoming.
Suddenly we went into an vote Obama skit here. Basically, it's change we can believe in. Basically, I totally agree for various reasons.
Make change great again.
Yeah, make change great again. Yeah, I'm still thinking about what would happen if this guy was alive today, and I was thinking about, well, if Jesus come back, none of those religious people in the States would go and visit him because they are all at the Trump rally. So times have changed. Actually, I had, just an example, I had actually COVID and long COVID with breathing problems, and we're doing no sports, right? And I was pretty much thinking, well, that's my sports career for the rest of my life then, because breathing problems and so on. And at some point, basically, I got the clear of the doctors, and I just thought, fuck it, I'll still do weightlifting, and I'll still do the other stuff. And then suddenly, when I started it, obviously, I thought, oh, will this be worse and all this stuff? No, it got better quickly, basically. And I realized I could do it, and I started it like being 40 or something like this. So that underlines what you just said. I just went for it and ignored the bad stuff, and it worked out in the end.
Absolutely.
Quite literally worked out.
Please don't do this at home. So
what? No, obviously my doctor.
Listen to your doctors.
My doctors cleared me, so I had a clear.
This is human evolution overall. This is you cannot just plod forwards doing the same thing you can. In fact, many people do. They just go through their life doing the same thing that they've always done. Nothing ever changes. There are those people, but the people that move things forward are people who have change occur to them that could be perceived as being negative at the time, but they adapt and they transform themselves and they become. It's evolution. I believe that all, or at least many of the good qualities that I enjoy about myself and my situation now are only things that have happened to me because kind of roadblocks have got in the way of what I thought was my path. So, if you went back and spoke to me when I was 20 or 30 or even 40 and asked me what my path was, it's nothing like the path I'm on. The path I'm on now is one that's encountered roadblock after roadblock after road being blown up, and it's had to change course. And yet where it is now is because every time that's happened, I've thought good, another roadblock to figure out. Cool, bring it on.
And Randy Pausch actually said, brick walls in your life are only there to stop people who do not want stuff bad enough.
Yes.
Basically, if you want it bad enough, you just get over it. And some brick walls are made out of flesh, so sometimes people make stuff difficult for you, obviously. But it doesn't have to stop you necessarily. You can just keep. If you want, you keep going. Basically,
it's Jörn's motivational week.
Yeah. Suddenly we are here with Dr. Phil and.
But what's important with the brick wall thing, you have to. It is hard. I understand it is hard. You have to have faith that once you climb over the wall, good stuff is on the other side. Yeah, and that's the tricky bit. I mean, I talk to so many people. I have people email me all the time because I'm divorced. in the past, people email me and say, I'm getting divorced and my life is over. I'm 36 and that's it. And to them, that is it. They cannot see what their life is like at 37. And the minute they do stop and think, well, it might actually be fine, if not better, then all is well, because then they can move forward. I talk to so many people who hit those brick walls, and it's not that they don't want to climb over it, they just don't see the value. They think that the other side of the wall is just rubbish forever.
I got divorced with 33, something like this. So I'm still here. So it can work out. So Alex, what are you waiting for? So there's still
I'm
still
just
hope.
listening. It's very interesting what you're talking about. I'm not divorced. I'm married still. I don't know why.
Sorry, ladies.
I have a specific question. You're a motorcyclist, and I saw your GPZ 900, and
Yes.
you really like that bike because of Top Gun, or
No, because of Top Gun. Yeah, no, just that.
Because of Top Gun.
Yeah, well, I was so I when Top Gun came out, I was about 13 years old, 14 years old. So I liked the bike then. And then in 1990, when I would have been about 18, I was in a motorcycle shop near my house, and they had in their second-hand collection of bikes, they had a GPZ 900, and by then it would have been about 4 or 5 years old. So it was a second-hand bike, and I was looking at a small motorbike that I was going to get myself as a first bike. And I just remember seeing this bike, and on the price ticket, it didn't have the price on it. It just had "Remember Top Gun" on it, because by then Top Gun was a few years old, and also Top Gun then hadn't really become. It's kind of become iconic. It was a big film then, but it wasn't what it is now. I just remember thinking in 1990, one day I'll get one of those. But of course, by the time I was rich enough to be able to get one, it was then just an old rubbish bike, and I didn't want it. So I went and bought a brand new R1. I had a Ducati and all sorts of stuff when I had money to buy what I wanted. And then I thought a couple of years ago, I wonder if I could find a GPZ. Like I never satisfied that kid dream that I had. So I started hunting for one and just found one that was literally perfect, been rebuilt. And it normally lives in my office. Because I'm moving house, it's currently in my living room, waiting to go on a truck. But yeah, that's why I have it. It just reminds me that kind of not don't give up on your goals, because some goals are just. I had goals when I was 15 that are stupid that I have given up on. But also kind of remembering. It's nice sometimes to remember that the passage of time can sometimes work in your favor. A lot of people get very disappointed that they're 40 or 50 or 60. But actually, because I'm 50 and because I've had years and years of doing stuff in the middle, it now allows me to better go back to my younger years and kind of deal with things that I thought I'd missed. So I don't regret or mind getting older at all. It's just an opportunity to go around and kind of mop up on
the
things
whole
that I
Porsche
wanted.
concept works like this, I think, doesn't it? Porsche, the sports cars.
Yes.
The old guys buy them because they like them when they were younger. Because young guys can't buy them, except they are YouTubers, obviously.
And brilliant. I think it's great. And people laugh at old guys driving around in those sort of cars because of that. But I think that's great. I think, why work hard all your life if not to satisfy the things you want? And the thing you wanted at 15 years old is just as important sometimes as the thing you want at 55. Sometimes it's more important. I mean, for me, when I got that bike, I remember driving up to the guy that was selling it, and I remember seeing it outside his garage where he'd been working on it, and I felt like I was 15 years old again. It was I didn't, before I got out of the car, I said to my wife, I said, we're buying that. I'm just buying it. And it was amazing. So yeah, that's why I have it. It's just an old dream fulfilled.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm quite similar. And for me personally, if I really wanted to do like buy something or anything like this, and I had the money at some point, I was always like thinking about it, like should you do it, should you not do it? And for me, I always had this fuck it moment where, where I just like thought process concluded, just do it, not think about it. And for me personally, I think I agree with the 50-year-old in Porsche is quite cool, because I think like if you really wanted something all your life, you worked hard and you make it possible, who cares what anybody else thinks if you drive around and you feel good? Like
Yes.
screw the others. Like you feel good. It's literally quality time for your life. So
Yes.
just do it.
Yeah, we are.
Period. Like
We're too. We care too much because of social media. We care too much
yeah,
about what other people think. When you're 70 or 80 or 90 years old and you're about to be dead, you will. You know, if you were asked, did you enjoy owning a Porsche? The answer is going to be yes. I loved owning a Porsche. I've owned a Porsche. I loved it. If someone said to me, but some people might have not liked you owning it or might have laughed at you owning it, fuck them. Why would I even give any thought to that? It amazes me that, and people often say to me, oh, you get a lot of negative comments on YouTube. People are often quite, critical. Does that bother you? And it not at all. I literally do not care what anybody else thinks.
yeah.
Why on earth would I? I'm a 50-year-old grown man. If I care what other people think, I've got more wrong with me than ADHD.
And we had like many cases actually with people we interviewed where we had this discussion, like how do you react to people in comments and stuff like this. And for example, like we had very serious cases where we had one of the leading environmental persons in Germany there, where she was getting at some point like 4 death threats a day. And the only real way to deal with it is like ignore it and just keep doing what you think is right. And obviously that's an extreme example, but like if you're in the social media space, I would totally agree, be it podcast or short videos or whatever. You cannot go with what's in the comments. I would say like it can motivate you, and I know it has motivated you, where some idiots write something and you have this I'll show them attitude.
Yeah,
For the record, your
yeah,
bike ride across Britain is my favorite video, actually. Like sun up to sundown.
yeah, sundown, yeah, chase the sun, yeah. No,
Yeah, I really like that.
I like to, I mean, ignoring them is best, but sometimes it's fun to, but because the bike, that's a good example, because I did that bike ride and people had told me that I wouldn't be able to. And actually, what's quite interesting, I mentioned in the video that people had said why I was stupid to be doing it and that I wouldn't be able to do it. But those comments, I put that bit in the video not because I was actually that bothered by those comments, but because I know that people love to have a bad guy. And so by sticking a bad guy in a video, nothing makes people cheer me on more than there being a bad guy. So often I'll talk about people being negative in the comments, like I did in that video, and people will email me and they'll say, "Hey, don't get so sad about it. Don't ignore them," as though I'm genuinely upset. And I have to point out, I literally do not care. The reason I talk about them is because it's nice to be able to sort of present a bad guy for the people that follow me to kind of throw stones at. It's just kind of giving the public what they want in that way. I mean, great storytelling is to, you need a kind of Darth Vader figure, and a troll in the comments is a good one. So I like to use them in that way, and it makes me chuckle when, I mean, basically I do well and people like my videos because somebody else was an idiot in the comments. But if it was just down to me, I would give them no thought. And I say to new YouTubers all the time, it's very hard to understand what's right in front of your face, which is that you'll get one bad comment and maybe 1,000 good ones, and you'll then fixate on the one, and it's hard to step back and think, why am I focusing on the one and not the 1,000 that were nice? It's human nature in a way to do that, and so rather than worry about it, I just ignore it. I literally don't care. What I can guarantee, nobody successful, but by whatever metric you use, nobody successful and happy and content is in the YouTube comments saying negative things. Ever. Never. Never.
Yeah.
That simply never happens. That just never. Because why would you? Why would you tell a stranger something negative if instead you could be enjoying your life or your wife or your job or your pet or anything? Why is the most important thing for you at that moment to talk to a stranger negatively? You've got to be a pretty big sad loser to do that. So I don't worry about it. I can't worry about sad losers.
Yeah, actually, that's true. I think we discussed it before on the audio podcast, where sometimes I take the liberty and if I see a negative comment or something like this, then I thank them personally for the comments, so the algorithm pushes me higher, basically, and then they go totally ballistic, and then I thank them even more. But this is more a just for fun action. Generally, I would agree that I always think, I mean, it's their lifetime they are wasting with negativity, and that's like, I always figure, like, if you're a 50-year-old guy sitting in a basement at some point, isn't it really sad if you waste 4 hours of your day like writing negative stuff to people that obviously don't care about your opinion? Essentially, it's not my time you're wasting, it's yours. So I find it sad as well.
Even worse than that, people use the kind of the cliche of the kind of the sad loser in his mum's basement. But actually, even if that person was, a regular person with kids and a wife and a dog that needs to go for a walk and his dinner's on the table, and instead of doing any of those things, he's on his phone texting you. Again, what a waste of a life and a kid and a dog and everything else. That's even worse. At least the guy in his mum's basement's got an excuse for why he's got time to be doing it. Everyone else is just so. No, I used to talk back to them and sort of amuse myself by being rude to them, but I've become less tolerant of it. So what I do now, I will just on YouTube in the comments, a lot of the comments, if you're very negative or the algorithm detects that you're using curse words or something, it will hold those comments back and I get to approve or not approve them. And if someone's saying your video is bad and here's why, then I'm happy to talk to them all day long, because that, tell me why. I'm genuinely interested in that. But if someone's simply being mean or nasty or saying things that I just simply know to be untrue and unhelpful, I just hide them. So effectively shadow ban them from the channel. So they don't know, but their comment and them is now deleted from the channel. They can carry on adding their comments forever, but no one can see them. They're just talking to nothing. So I do that, and people say, "Oh, that's censorship," and I say, "Damn right, it's censorship."
Yes, it's your channel.
My YouTube comments is. I heard another podcaster say this. He said, the comment section is like his house. You're welcome to come in, but don't put your feet on the furniture. So that's what my comment section is. If you want to come and talk to me, you don't have to be positive, but you have to be sensible. If you want to just kind of wade into the comments and just be a dick, then I will just hit hide from the channel, and you'll be talking to nothing forever, and wasting your
Yeah.
time. So I have zero tolerance for that now. Again, life is far too short to spend more than the quarter of a second it takes me to hit that goodbye button.
I really have a question regarding your overland activities. Let's call it like this. You're doing very long runs, very long bike tours, motorized, and with
Yeah.
your bare legs. What was the most impressive moment you had on such a trip? Like sunrise, sundown, when you saw some unicorns, something like that. Maybe something that is not on YouTube for.
No, I mean the two things that jump out at me when I was in Namibia on my motorcycle. I can remember being in the desert in the middle of nowhere at night and seeing the Milky Way properly for the first time, and that was really when a lot of the things I've spoken about today. That's when a lot of those things were born. You know, those ideas that, because I went there thinking it is crazy at 42 years old, whatever I was at the time, to be traveling around the desert on my own. I mean, anything could happen. What if this and what if that? And then I remember being in the desert and seeing that Milky Way and thinking, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Tomorrow will come. I will probably still be here, and I will ride my bike as I've done every other day. It will just, life will go on. So stop worrying, just get on with it. So traveling around Africa I came home from Africa a different person. I mean, no question about it. That all of those what ifs just disappeared. The other thing that people have seen a lot is I did some races with my dog a few years ago, and that was when I would find myself on top of mountains, and I say mountains, in places like Wales. So we're not, I'm not running over the Himalayas, but I'm up high, and I'm on my own, just me and my dog, and I realised that I have to be able to do another 20 miles of running to get back to where I need to be, and no one can help me do that. Just me and my dog. And again, that it gave me that sense of, at first, fear, because you think, what if I fall? What if I break my leg? What if? And then you think, yeah, I don't care, because I can't care. I don't mean I don't care. I mean, I don't have time to care about that. I need to simply do what I need to do to achieve what I want to achieve. And what ifs are just pointless distractions to that. And so I would just run with my little dog and eventually get to where I wanted to get, which was the finish line in those cases. And I would then look back, and I'm glad I videoed those, because I would look back and I would remember the moments where I would be thinking, wow, if I fall off the side of this cliff, I'm in trouble. And then I would just ignore that and just look ahead and just move forward. And it kind of became a metaphor for so many things. Whenever something appears scary, I would think it will probably be okay. So let's just get on assuming that's the case. And actually, if it isn't okay, worrying about it wouldn't have helped anyway. If I was going to fall off my bike in Africa,
that's the point, yes.
There's nothing I can't stop myself from falling off my bike. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen, and I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. So yeah, it made me very carefree. Those two things just they stick in my mind.
Okay, so to wrap this podcast up, and I'll summarize, guys. If you watch this, if you want to take anything away from this podcast, I think, and you can agree or disagree with me, is don't be afraid. You can always change. Things essentially will work out. You don't have to be afraid of the future, or like just go ahead and do the things you always wanted to do, and don't be afraid of change, I think is the message of this, combined with don't listen to fitness influencers on YouTube. Only to the great Mark Lewis, who has been here and has been a great guest for our very first video podcast. And before I close it, do you want to add anything, Mark?
My
timing.
my AirPod died as you were saying that awesome
Yes.
wrap-up.
It's full circle. It was the Forrest Gump moment again.
It was. I'm sure what you said was amazing, though.
Yeah.
I got the gist. I mean, yeah, don't go and get divorced, everybody. Although if you do, it'll probably be okay. So maybe
there's enough women for everybody and men.
Well, yeah, indeed. Yeah, there you go. Put that on the.
Yeah, that's the title right there. that will go down well with the American audience. Yeah. Alex?
Yeah, I will not say anything at all.
Okay.
Except Mark, thank you very much for your time. It was awesome. I really enjoyed the podcast, our first video and English podcast, and I think we still have enough vocabulary. So we could go on, but I think we should stop now.
Well, no, thank you. I should warn people. I mean, if this is their first experience of an English person,
yes,
they're not all. I'm dealing with some very stupid house move lawyers at the moment, so they're not all as angry. And you know,
that was harmless compared to other guests we had. That was absolute harmless.
Oh, good. I'd have been even worse then.
We are talking to Germans normally.
Yeah, we're talking to exactly like to angry. We had guests in our podcast that literally were like high-level politicians and former like head of personnel, and they suggested we should ban all rights of employees on air. So
well, me saying get divorced if your wife is rubbish is no big deal then.
It's harmless. It's
I mean, that's a given, right? If people needed that boost, then well. Okay, by the way, you can find, obviously, I'll post the link to Mark's channel in the commentary and in the description, and to his absolutely great videos, so go check him out. Not him personally, but his channel, obviously. And I'm sure he's appreciative of that. And yes, next podcast will be audio again on the channel. I'll post in the description, blah, 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 blah. And thank you very much. And that's it.